How you doing? Mr. DJ's back for my 50s, early 60s, the Sock Hop channel. And I got to go back to Billboard's Hot 100, hooked on Billboard's Hot 100 of May the 18th, 1963. And some of the songs that you might remember from that Hot 100, we got Summer by Nat King Cole. No, I take that back. My southern accent coming through. Those lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer by Nat King Cole making a jump from 47 to number 25 that week. The El Watusi by Ray Barretto is at number 24. So many songs I like to talk about on this thing, but won't be able to get to. Kayu Sakamoto, Sukiyaki, from 45 to number 20. Week of May 18th, 1963. Song I want to talk to you about, though, well, it went to number 12, but down to number 30. Dropped from number 15 the previous week, May 18th, 1963. Mecca by Gene Pitney. One of those songs you don't hear much anymore. Got that Arabian, Middle East flavor to it. Mecca by Gene Pitney. Gene Pitney, he's done very well in England. Really well in England, even after the British invasion kind of kicked him away here in the States or lessened his chart presence here in the States. He continued to hit in England. I'll get into that in just a minute. Here in the States, he's had 20 top 40 hits. 11 of those, no, I take that back. 4 of those went top 10 here in the States, Gene Pitney. But in England, Gene Pitney had 22 top 40 hits. He continued to chart over there until about, early 70s, maybe 73, 74. 11 of those records in England went top 10 with Gene Pitney. Did very well overseas. From Rockville, Connecticut, his influences, he was a big fan of the Crows. You remember the Crows? They had that song G, and that's a classic sock hop record right there. Moon Mulligan, and of course Clyde McPhatter, Treasure of Love, back in '56. The original lead singer of the Drifters back in the early to mid-'50s, Gene Pitney. When he was in high school, he formed his first band called Gene and the Genials, and loved to sing doo-wop. You can hear some of that doo-wop influence later on in the early 60s. And he sang with a group called Ember. And get this, 1959, off the Decca record label, he recorded with a woman. They were known as Jamie and Jane. They recorded a couple of records but didn't do anything. But Jane was Jeannie Arnell. Remember Jeannie Arnell? She had that lovely record, fantastic record. It was Dumbhead. I'm a dumbhead, dumb. I'm a stupid little girl. Late 63, early 64. And he sang with her. She was from Connecticut. New Haven, I believe. Jeannie Arnell sang with Jeannie Arnell. They came out with 2 records, 2 or 3 singles, didn't do anything. Signed up with Musicore label as a songwriter. Wrote He's a Rebel, Hello Mary Lou, and Rubber Ball. Remember Rubber Ball by Bobby Vee back in 1960? Rubber Ball, I'll come bouncing back to you. Bobby Vee doing that great Buddy Holly imitation. That Of course, Gene Pitney himself, Only Love Can Break Your Heart, and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. 2 big ones, standards by Gene Pitney. One of his... I always get the name of this record mangled up. One of my favorite songs by Gene Pitney, It Hurts to Be in Love Sometime. God, that was a powerful record. One of his best. But you know who did that song first, who recorded it originally? Neil Sedaka. But RCA refused to release Neil Sedaka's version of It Hurts to Be in Love Sometime because, well, Neil Sedaka apparently recorded the song outside the RCA Victor label, something outside the label, which the label did not like at all, and they just didn't release it. The songwriters, including, I believe, Howard Greenfield, they gave it to Gene Pitney. And Neil Sedaka's backup could be heard. Some of his backup vocals could be heard on that record, by the way. I believe it's called It Hurts to Be in Love Sometimes. It had a great backbeat to it. One of the best rock and roll records of all time. And it was a hit right in the teeth of the British invasion in the summer of '64. Gene Pitney, you know, he was a powerful vocalist. One of the most underrated vocalists. When you hear of the pantheon of great singers, you seldom hear Gene Pitney's name mentioned. And that's not right. You know that's not right. You remember Gene Pitney? The guy could sing. Well, anyway, Mecca came out in 1963. I don't have much on the history of that record, though. Um, it got as high as number 12 on Billboard's Hot 100. It was on Billboard's Hot 100 for 11 weeks. That's almost 3 months. And that's in the spring of 63. And even though, here's the thing about Gene Pitney. You're going to love this. This is really for the American audience. Even though Gene Pitney was sidelined a little bit by the British invasion, he continued to do well in the mid-60s. One of my favorite songs by Gene Pitney, does anybody remember Looking Through the Eyes of Love? 1965. Wasn't that big over here. It was big, but not as big as some of his other hits. That record went to number 3 in England. While we were bopping to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Herman's Hermits, British, they were taking a liking to Gene Pitney. Backstage, remember Backstage from 66? Not that big over here in the States, but it went to number 4 in Britain. Gene Pitney on Billboard's Hot 100, May 18th, 1963. He's down, but he's not out, not by any means, at number 30 with Mecca.